Hey, you guys, welcome. It's our Diamond Zoom in January 19th. Wow. We've got a special guest today. We've got Joy Harrington, who is a fellow member of Team Rockstar Fit. And I met her because we were at a tables together at the Diamond Retreat in Beaver Creek this year. And Joy this is my personal take on it, has like this confident vibe that made me want to know more about her. So I instantly just became really curious about her and her journey into coaching. And the stuff she shared in our table shares was awesome. I thought it was really interesting. She talked about, her and her husband do marriage counseling, and she just shares that. And it seemed that she had such a strong brand and really had this confidence in it. And I was like, that's awesome. I want to know more about that. So I invited her to be on our Zoom. It's always great to learn from our peers, for sure. A little bit of the logistics. She lives in Denver with her husband, Peter, and her two little children, Simon and Scarlett. And they could possibly vomit at any moment, but she is still on. Her husband is out of town, and it's like 7 a.m. there. But after reading through her answers, she's become quite a morning person. So we appreciate shaking up your morning routine so that you can be on. And you're a musician, which I was like, oh, I had no idea. That's cool too. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. With musician, like I was like, what does she do? Like, do you play an instrument and do you sing?
Both. I grew up in a very musical family, and so we all sing, and we all started with piano, and then we all branched off into other instruments too. And so we were like the family band that did music together. So we did that a lot, and then I've just kind of kept it up over the years with usually being on the church band that I attend at the time. So it's something that's fun. It's just kind of an outlet for me. It's not something I've ever like made serious money doing, but
that's awesome. That's like creativity and talent and so many awesome things. I think we're all a little jealous. Like, that sounds like a fun childhood. But so Joy, let's jump into it. You talked a lot about kind of where you were before coaching and how you came into it. Can you share that with us right now?
Yeah. So I actually met my coach because I was on the band with her husband in Portland. And so she met me, and I moved away, and we didn't really know each other. We just kind of met in passing. And I think she had like just started coaching. And I remember seeing her start to post. I had seen other people posting too about 21 Day Fix. Who hasn't heard of that? So she invited me right after we moved, and it was a really bad time because I had my second child, and we moved from Portland to Denver 2 weeks later. And so I was like dying with a toddler that freaked out and started like regressing, and then a baby that freaked out and started becoming this really hard baby. And then I got like postpartum depression and all of that too. So when she reached out, I was like, no, like, what are you talking about? I would do what? I was like, I cannot add one more thing to my plate. Plus, I've always been into fitness and been the gym girl and like had a good handle on clean eating and nutrition. So I was like, why do all of these people who all of a sudden found this program think that they can help me? Like, I've already been doing this for years. But so I was like, no. And then I just kept watching her and watching these other people that I knew with their transformation stories, working this as a business and seeing their success just in the business. And so that's actually what interested me. It wasn't exactly the workouts. It was more the business side, because I wanted something as a mom who was going to be staying home full time, where I could contribute to my family. And so I was trying to be a beauty, fashion, fitness blogger. But really the only way to break into that is to spend lots of money to then make it back. And you have to kind of be willing to go in the hole. And I wasn't. And my husband definitely wasn't. So I kind of just watched them, and I was like, I know if I did this, that I could do this. Like, because people already asked me about fitness. All of my friends would already ask me about it. So I was like, but I just don't want to join an MLM. Like, these people are so annoying. And some people's posts, I was like, So anyways, but I watched, and a year went by, and we had gone through hitting a huge rock bottom in our marriage, because when my baby was 5 months old, my husband's addiction came to light, and I didn't know about it. And I was like, I'm done. And I kicked him out, and we separated and everything. And our pastor found us a counselor for him that specialized in this area. And so he started seeing him, and actually we see him together, but he more counsels my husband. And it was amazing. It totally led to a transformation from like the inside out. It was incredibly hard. I would say like the first few months of counseling, you're going like, is this even helping? It just seems to make everything worse. Like, so it was extremely hard. Plus I was in like a huge grieving stage then, and still drowning with 2 kids and a hard baby. So I felt like a lot of days were just a day to survive. And the hard part about being in that place was I didn't have a lot of support. I didn't have a lot of friends who just supported me with where I was at. I had a lot of people who wanted to give me their opinion or judge the situation or tell me I should have left or I shouldn't have, or what was the big deal, kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, but not a lot of people who were just there for me. And it was hard. So as I started to come out of that and we started to really grow with counseling, I saw my husband changing a ton. And I was like, well, if we're really going to do this and if we're really going to have a new marriage, I need something. Like I need something in my life to help me to change. I just need to start working on me. And I remember seeing my coach posting different books she was reading, how she was trying to get better about budgeting or time management or things like that. And I was like, well, clearly these people don't just work on health and fitness, and that's kind of cool. And if I'm looking to actually change, I probably can't do it alone because I never have. It's nice to think, oh, I'll get better about this, but doing it alone doesn't mean you will. So I was like, I'll try it. I'll just sign up for a month, but I want to be a coach. Like I want to see if I can make this into a business, and I want to see if this helps me grow and change and gives me that support. So she reached out to me again. She just said, hey, how's it going? I was thinking of you. And I was like, actually, I was going to talk to you. I want to look into this business thing. And so she put me in a coach open house, and I saw that. And then she walked me through getting my challenge pack and everything. So I signed up as a coach with a challenge pack. And before my challenge started, I attended a Super Saturday because she was like, there's a Super Saturday going on. You should go. And I was like, what is this? And I showed up, and everyone's like, how many people have done a program? And I was like the only one sitting because I hadn't gotten my stuff yet. And then I was like, I don't even know what they're talking about. What are 4 vital behaviors? I was sitting there so lost and alone because none of the team is out here. So I went alone to this thing. But I was like, this is cool. Gives me like an inside look. Okay, I'm excited. And then I also got 2 other girls to jump into the challenge group with me before it started because I ordered my stuff and was like, oh my God, I have to earn this back. So I just started talking to people and messaging her. And I remember I was constantly messaging my coach being like, what are we supposed to say? How am I actually supposed to sign her up? And she couldn't give me enough information fast enough because I was like, I've got to earn this back and I really want to try. She told me to read The Compound Effect, and I got it before she could even get it to me and just started listening to it. So definitely did PD from day one, and that lit a fire under me. I was raised in a family where my parents were early risers, and they did teach us to be early risers. But I don't know if you've read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm reading that right now. And he talks about how people can be so rigid and so about the schedule that then there's not time for people. And so my mom tended to be that way. So when I became a mom, I was like, I am not going to be that way. I was like, I want to prioritize people over a schedule. So I kind of went the opposite where I was like, we'll just sleep in. We'll just take it easy. We'll just do whatever we want. And so I did the whole throwing the baby out with the bathwater thing. And I didn't realize that was affecting me. I just thought I was prioritizing my kids or other people, but I didn't realize that it was actually taking time from me and actually not helping myself. So I realized I could get up 30 minutes earlier, started working out just 30 minutes earlier. I would just get up 30 minutes before my kids would. And so I was like, oh my God, I just saved my whole morning. I don't have to drive to the gym. I don't have to get them in childcare and get back and all this stuff. So I loved it. Started getting up 30 minutes earlier. And then I was like, oh, now I can get up even earlier and start having quiet time and all this other stuff. So it slowly backed up. over time. But I just fell in love with it. In the first challenge, I wasn't even looking to lose weight. I was kind of where I wanted to be, but I lost 5 pounds and like 5 inches. And all of a sudden was starting to get abs. And I had never had abs before, even before I had kids. And my husband was like, what? And I was like, what? It was crazy. So I was like, this works, because before I hated at home workout programs. I was like, these are not hard. They don't do anything for me, like whatever. And then these, I was like, oh, okay, this is serious. So it just kind of went from there. I just kept talking to people, friending new friends. I literally just did the 4 vital behaviors every day because my coach told me basics from the get-go. And so I did everything that they said to do. I posted. I started new conversations. I literally just did kind of what people told me to, but I didn't feel the pressure of like, oh, you have to be a certain way. Like you have to just always post about challenge groups on these certain days or coaching on these certain days. I mean, I took that into consideration. I would try, but at the same time, I was like, I want to make sure this is making me happy and I'm doing this in a way that works for me too. So, and my coach was great about that, Jess. Good job. She did not put the pressure on me to like be a certain way or perform or whatever. So I hit Emerald in my first month and earned back my investment and was like, I'm going for it.
Joy, okay. You just gave us all so much. We, I think, can relate to a ton of that and are like, yes, these are the type of people that are amazing to have. But I mean, you remind me of some of the women that I see that I'm like, man, I would love to work with them, but they kind of intimidate me. Or I think that they'll have maybe that reaction that you kind of had. Like, I go to the gym. Like, I'm good. I don't need the 21-day fix, you know? But for you to just sit back and watch, and Jess kept doing her thing and you needed something more. So like, don't give up on that dream team. You just
For
never,
sure.
when you plant that seed. So much good stuff. Love that when you were ready, you were just in. Talk a little bit about what you started, like, did you make a list? How did your invites go? Like, what's your favorite way to invite people?
Yeah, I made a list because my coach told me to. This was before I even got my challenge back because I was already talking to people. So she was like, make a list of 25 people. And then I was like, what kind of details do you give them? So she goes, here, I have this saved that I used. You can take it and either copy and paste or make it your own. So she gave me kind of an idea of what to use as far as after the conversation had started and you're ready to invite them. And I have saved that and I've tweaked it and I've added since then. But it is my go-to because it's a great, hey, I thought of you. I have this group going, generic kind of form. But I've always been a pretty good conversation starter with people. So I definitely just start conversations and try to build relationship first and find common ground to meet on and to relate to someone, because I can say that if the first time when Jess had approached me, if she had just tried to be like, how are you? And I had someone to talk to and be like, I'm actually really struggling. It's a really hard time. I might have joined before. Instead of just this whole, hey, I was thinking about you. Do you want to get into my group? It was kind of too fast. And so and I've done both. I have. And I think I've learned, like, always build more first. Like, it doesn't hurt to build more first. And some people are ready and you can read that and you can invite quickly. But I think a lot of people just want a friend.
Hell yeah. Can I say that? Sorry. I think I love what you just said, Joy. Like, you just never know sometimes, and sometimes you have to trust your gut with how you approach someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and you do that by putting yourself in their shoes and like trying to learn a little bit about them. And you're right. Like, Trina was on our call last night, our team call, and she said, like, you got to guarantee people results, a community, and personal growth. And like that friend part, like, people want to be part of a team. Trina has said that to me for so long. And it really is being that friend, being that positive influence in someone's life. Julianne had a question for you really quick. I want to pause if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to read it.
Okay.
I
can just talk about it because my head is all over the place. One, you're like the perfect coach where you just like go for it. And I identify a lot with that, where it's just like, you just went for it and you have nothing to lose by doing that, which is awesome. Do you think, because I'm sure you've gotten coaches that aren't like you, and that's frustrating because you just want to like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Do you think it's because you were on the sidelines for a year where you knew, like it was in the back of your head and you saw your coach and you saw the stuff? Do you think it was going to Super Saturday? What was it? I know you wanted to make your investment back, but I know a lot of coaches who want to make their investment back, but they still don't go for it. So there's like a lot of questions in here. So you can answer that part of just like, what was it? And maybe it was the multiple things, but then was it just messaging those people or also posting on social media? Like, what did that look like for you?
I had a coming out of the closet post where I was like, I'm doing 21-day fix, but I made sure to phrase it as in like, this does not mean that I'm giving up the gym or that I'm joining some rigorous diet. I tried to debunk some myths that I had about it before I joined. I don't think that I ever well, I take that back. I did some posts like soft invites for challenge groups, but my coach strongly discouraged me from, doing anything that's like, here's 21-day fix, come buy it from me, being all salesy, which I was totally against anyways. That's why I didn't want to join an MLM. I definitely let people know what I was doing. Let's put it that way with a soft invite. I would say, and I forgot about this until you brought up this question, I remember watching these people work this business for a year and thinking, if I don't jump on this train soon, people are already going to be doing this and I'm going to run out of a market. Like, I remember having that feeling of like, this has been a train that's here and it's going and it's getting successful. And if I don't jump on this train, I'm going to miss out on an opportunity. I remember feeling that. And I guess it's just because I saw more and more people joining. And so I was like, crap, I got to hurry up and like get on this and like see if I can build a business before everyone else is doing this too.
Did you see your coach? It's Jess, right? Jessica?
Yes. Yeah.
Where was she painting this picture for you then? Because I'm just trying to make connections to all of us and you to where like you still continue to post like that. And I do too, where you're taking your avatar is in your past. In my opinion, and you get to take your avatar to your present and to what is their future. So did she paint this vision for you of like what this would do for you then? Because it sounds like you were like, I got it. This is it. Like, this is
right.
Taking off without me. Like, I'm either going or I'm staying.
I watched her journey and I watched her picture. She never exactly painted it for me. I mean, she let me know what it could be for me and that I could build it to a certain point. But I saw her working a job and then she was able to stay home and then she was able to hire a house cleaner and then she was able to do all these things that I was like, well, I have a house cleaner, but my husband's paying for it. Like it would be nice if I could help in some way. And I just was like, I've been talking about this for years. I just need to do something. Like, I can't just not do anything. And again, I don't know how much of it was my story and realizing that I had been married to an addict means that you've kind of made your whole life about them because that's how addicts are. And so I don't know if it was me kind of wanting to like take back, not power, but kind of, I don't know, find myself in some way. So I don't know if it was me trying to like prove that to me. It totally did, because I will say I felt completely powerless in my life for that year because my husband had made these decisions that then I was stuck with, that then I was having to deal with. And I was like, even if I leave him, I still have all this crap baggage that I have to deal with. Like, so I was like, again, all these choices that I haven't made that I have to deal with. And I felt completely powerless. I had a baby that was hard and I was like powerless. Like everything just felt powerless. And so I was like, I can't do anything about my life and I'm stuck. And then I found this and I was like, I can do something about that. And then I realized now looking back, I could have worked on me the whole time, and so that is kind of my message to women is people don't have a lot of answers when you're in a recovering marriage for the spouse. And so I'm looking now for those women to say, you do feel powerless, but guess what? You don't have to be. And working on yourself can change everything.
Love it. Yay. Joy, thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys just never know. If we continue to show up and share and take that picture and just talk more than just about workouts and shakes, like people are watching. You shared, I loved in detail in your answers, some frustrations that you had in the beginning. Would you mind talking about some of that stuff and how you worked through it?
Yeah. I had a family member basically use it as an excuse to defriend me, stop talking to me, cut me out of my life, or cut me out of her life. She accused me of going after her friends because she saw me like someone's picture. So she was like, "Are you talking to my friends?" And I was like, "I had one conversation with this girl because I know she had kids my age." I was like, "But that's it." And so she was like, "Oh my God, you're going after my friends. You're going to embarrass me. Like, you're going to be that MLM person." And I was like, "Well, I've never been an embarrassment to you before. I don't really know why you would think that would happen now." And so long story short, that all happened. And looking back, we had had some issues before that. And I think it's because I've been changing a lot in the last year. And when you change and you grow, sometimes your family has a really hard time with seeing that. And so I think it was her excuse. I don't think it was really about that. And I can recognize that now because other family members are starting to be like, "What's going on with you? Like, why aren't you the same?" Like, not those exact words, but that is their reaction to me of like, "Why aren't you doing what we expected you to do and how we expect you to react this whole time?" Because I'm not anymore. So going through that was incredibly hard. It messed with my head for sure. And I was like, "Oh my God, am I that person? Am I really spamming people? Like, am I turning into that MLM shake girl?" Like, and then I reached out to my team. I actually went to my team and went live, my sponsor team. And I was like, "This happened and I'm really struggling." And all the love and support and people are like, "Oh my God, who do we need to go kill?" Was like awesome to get. And it was very reassuring. And even some of my girls that I had brought on who had turned into coaches who weren't actively working the business yet, but they were still there, were like, "You've never been that way with me. Like, the whole reason I joined you was because you didn't just ask me to join your group. Like, you reached out and made a friendship, all this stuff." So I took what they said. I dug into personal development. I think that's when I chose to read You Are a Badass. And I was like, the way to get over a fear is to do it. Like, you just have to do it. And so I just made myself get back to inviting people, get back to like forcing myself to do that. So that was hard. I don't remember. What did I say the second one was? I can't even remember. But
I'll look right now. That was awesome. Just sharing that. I mean, we've all been there and have someone who can kind of shake your confidence and belief in this. And you've got to like really dig deep to make sure it's there. The second you said came when I was pushing really hard, getting tons of no's.
That was right before, or maybe during the first team cup I was in or something. And so I was just like every day inviting. And I got like, man, it felt like 100 no's. I had never had that many no's before in my life. And so I was like, no. And so then I almost grew desperate where I was just like, "Do you want to join my challenge group? Do you want to join my challenge group?" Like, not exactly inviting people, right? And I messaged my coach and I was like, "I cannot believe this. I've had so many no's. Like, what's going on? I'm feeling desperate." And I had never felt desperate before. And she was so wise. Her response back to me goes, "Are you taking a day off?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course," And then I asked my husband, I was like, "Jess says, am I taking a day off?" And he goes, "No." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "No, you're not." He's like, "You're on every day, like even on the weekends." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess you're right." And so I was like, "No, I'm not." And she was like, "You need to take a day off. You need to unplug. You need to go do other things." And desperation doesn't attract anyone, So I started really guarding my time better. And now I don't really even work Saturdays and Sundays. I'd have that as family time. I mean, I'll check in with challengers and stuff like that. I try to still post on social media, but I'm not checking my messages. I'm not inviting people. And I feel like it's really good because it gives me time to step away and fill up and not be desperate. Because when you are getting all of those no's, it does cause you to become desperate, and no one's attracted to that. And so that was a good lesson for me. and learning to take some time off.
That's a great lesson. Desperation is like bug repellent. So,
Yes.
So you're a diamond, which means you obviously have a team. So you
Mhm.
went from, okay, I'm in, both feet in from the get-go, which is awesome, doing this, running challenges, to then that transition to now you're like a leader and you have this team and you're helping other people do it. Talk a little bit about that transition, how you've helped your new coaches come on and how you've grown as a leader. What have been some great tools for you?
I feel like that's all stuff I'm working on right now, because that's been my biggest question is, how do I lead this team? How do I help people? Probably because, like Julianne said, I'm so like, let's go, go, go. So when people aren't, I'm like, how do I motivate you to work the business without being like that pushy coach? I will say that one of my coaches who's going for it right now was a discount coach for forever, not really interested in the business and working a regular full-time job. And it was as I started giving her recognition on social media that all of a sudden she was like, all these people are reaching out to me. I actually need to learn how to sign people up. And then she signed a couple of people up. And then she was like, whoa, I could kind of do this. And she's like, a switch flipped one day. But she told me that it was after I shared her transformation story. And she got tons of response from that's like when it lit a fire for her. And so I think giving recognition is huge publicly, if they'll let you, because they start to believe in themselves and they start to see that. I try to obviously get them into training, I Zoom with them pretty regularly, ask them where they're at. I've been asking my coaches lately what their dates are for their goals, because it's not real unless you put a date to it. And then I tell them my dates too, because I'm like, I'm not just asking you to do something I'm not. I'm in a leadership training right now with Jess because she's doing this awesome John Maxwell leadership training for our team. And that's been huge. In fact, a couple of my coaches are in there too. So I think just getting people that training, giving them confidence. I don't really know at this point what else, but I do try to check in pretty regularly.
Yeah. I mean, it is such a learning experience. Oh my gosh. But it's just, the biggest thing is being aware that I am responsible to these people now and I have to help guide them. Like if I bring them on, like that's your job in figuring that out, and you learn as you go. So I don't want to spend too much more time interviewing you because I have a feeling that the team might have some questions. So if you guys have them, like get ready. But Joy, I did love, you've talked a little bit about it. I asked you to compare what you were like when you first joined as a coach and then what you're like today. And you've touched on some of that, but almost like the difference and then how that's come to life in your social media too.
Well, I mean, I even look at social media as like a business now versus before it was just kind of like for fun and look at me type thing. And I look at social media as value. And so I'll be tempted to post something just about my kid real quick. And then I'm like, wait a minute, how is this actually going to help someone? And so I'm like, I should actually really say what's going on because maybe this will help someone instead of just saying a cute little caption. I guess I think about that completely differently. But my life is totally different, mostly because I've changed so much. I've grown and become this strong, confident person who actually believes I can have a successful business. And I never thought that before. I wasn't even raised to think that way. I was raised to think like you be this good wife and raise kids and like, that's about it, and if you're doing some sort of normal at-home job, that's acceptable, like a piano teacher or something like that. But building a business like this in an MLM is like, none of my family asked me about it. I will tell you that. It's not really cool, with them. So I don't really have that support, but the family that does support me are awesome. So, but I'm a completely different person. And I will say, a year ago, we were just trying to survive, and now I'm thriving. And I've become this woman who wants to have a voice for women who are married to recovering addicts. And I am determined that in my future, I will be public about that. And I will be speaking out to those specific women with that specific addiction saying, I'm here for you. I know this isn't talked about. I know you feel completely alone, and I'm your voice. Like, I'm here to tell you, you can talk to me. Like, it's not about you, and there's hope. And you don't just have to think that you just have to survive. You can thrive even while going through something hard. And you can have hope just for you, even if your marriage doesn't make it, like, even if. So I see myself on a stage someday talking to women. I see myself having a business totally outside of Beachbody, but at the same time, I want to combine the Beachbody aspect and the support group that I'm in right now for wives with like a workbook together, because no one has that. And that's what you need when you're a spouse married to a recovering addict. You need both the physical and the emotional, mental, spiritual. And so I intend to run challenge groups that combine both of that, where I have a workbook and everything. Because I mean, no one had talked to me about it before I went through it. I had no idea what to do. I had no idea who to talk to. No one that I knew could relate to me. And that's the worst spot to be in. And so I'm going to be a face that's going to change that. And so I never had that vision before. A year ago, I would have been like, heck no, I don't even want people to know I'm in this. And now I've totally changed in that. So it's a beautiful thing.
That is, yes, you have such conviction and just clarity and passion for it. And it really is, what's the extra thing? And Vito talks so much about that you can blend. And I love that. I love that you see yourself on a stage being able to be that voice for people. That's huge. That's like, Beachbody is the vehicle that's going to help you do even bigger things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I was going to ask one other thing. And if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer. How did it go? Sometimes I feel like it's hard to put it all out there, all those struggles with your spouse. Even. Your spouse is like, dude, what are you doing? Like, stop airing our dirty laundry. Or like your parents are like, why do you put that stuff out there? Like, how did you get to this point where you can be so open about it and everyone in your life seems supportive, at least the people you have close?
It's taken time. We weren't ready at first. I kind of slowly put stuff out there. And even now, we haven't come out and been like, this is our story. But my husband is extremely supportive, and he wants the same thing. He wants both of us to help people someday with this same addiction. And I'm blessed in that area, that he wants to talk about it and be open. And he agrees with me that he sees it being public someday soon. We're probably going to share our story. But I have had people say, are you sure you want to put that out there? And I agree to a certain extent. I never try to put it out there in a negative way. I try to put it out there as in, we've been through this and it's really hard, but now we're here and there's hope for you. And in a way where people who are going through it will kind of be like, hey, wait, I think maybe I could talk to her, because I want to help people. That is my thing. But it was slow. It took time, and it took little posts of being like, oh, I've been struggling. Like at first, where I wouldn't tell people anything, up to now I'll be like, yeah, a year ago we were in a sucky place in our marriage and now we're doing well. And I see no shame in that, because I feel like people have that story regardless of whether they share that or not. And we've learned through the last year, that's not an indictment on us, and it's not an indictment on our marriage. It's just a fact of life. And just because we have this story doesn't mean that it has to define us now. So it's been a learning, time-taking process, but.
That's awesome, Joy. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
You're amazing at what you do, for sure. I love that you're so clear and passionate about it. Okay, here comes the questions. Go ahead, Carrie.
I was raising my hand.
I know. That's what
I know. I see.
I was waiting. Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing.
Yeah.
I am a ex-wife of a recovering addict. And listening to you, I didn't ever, because I'm also a recovering addict myself, I never put myself in that place. And going back, I don't even know, like 6-7 years now, thinking, oh my gosh, if there would have been somebody there for me,
Right? Yeah.
when I mean, I've got 15 years clean now. So that wasn't my problem. It was being the wife of an addict. And
it's a stigma.
Oh my, and it was hard for, what have I done wrong? If there would have been somebody for me, I would have been your best coach.
Yes.
I would have been, sign me up, because you are so lost. So I say, get out there and do this now, because you will have an army. It's an amazing, people need so much help. But now, myself, knowing that, my ex-spouse doesn't care for me to share anything about him. He's got about 2 years clean now, and so he's starting to love himself a little bit more. But myself, I can share about, I am a recovering addict. Yeah. And anytime I do share that, because I don't blast it every day, just because I think people would get sick of it. That's just where I'm at right now. But I'm super cool with it. Anytime I share that, I get a flood of messages of people saying, oh my God, I had no idea. Oh my God, I had no idea. Yeah. So, and like my cousin, my aunt, or, people just sharing all kinds of information with me, saying, maybe would you be able to talk to so-and-so? Do you have any advice for this? And so there's such a need for this. And I am high-fiving you all the way. Great job. And get that workbook out there. The women need it. Or
thank you.
Too, but yay. Oh my God. I love you.
Thank you.
Hugs from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Yeah.
Amanda asked, what social media platforms do you use? Oh, it just disappeared. Do you use Facebook ads? How do you like those? What is your favorite way to meet new people, kind of thing?
I only use Facebook and Instagram at this point. I don't spread myself too thin. And I have not tried. Okay. I only just made a like page like in January, because I only just formed my real team and did like my team page and everything. I took my time doing that. And I've done a boosted post like once and got some reaction on it. It wasn't huge, but because I'm so new to it, I don't know yet as far as what I'll think there. My favorite way to meet new people is just friending friends of friends and then starting conversations. I make sure every day not only to add people, but then to go start conversations with people I've recently added. I have met a couple of people in public, a couple of moms, and started a conversation, and they've joined my group, but most of it's online. And I've met people on Instagram, and to be honest, several people on Instagram have come to me. And like anytime I put a woofu form out there, I get more woofu forms filled out from Instagram than I do Facebook. I don't know why. People are like, why? What are you doing on Facebook? And I'm like, I don't know. I post my workout videos and I do good hashtags. Like I always, so I'll have people who are already doing Beachbody, not as a coach, but doing the programs, come find me because of that. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You never know. It's trying a bunch of stuff sometimes, so you find something that kind of gets some traction. Any other questions, you guys? For Joy, anything else that you wanted to share?
I don't think so.
It's been awesome. I love that you were like, I didn't want to be part of an MLM. I feel like so many people, so many of our dream team feels that way, because your dream team is probably smart, is probably already confident, probably already has great stuff going for them. And so they might have that, I already know what an MLM is and that's not for me kind of mentality, and to be able to plant that seed, but then show them this is so much more than an MLM. Yeah. It's really a platform. It's a community. Yay, Joy, we appreciate you being on here so much. I know it's early. Your husband's out of town. You have sick kids. You got a babysitter. Like, seriously, like that is the best gift you could give us.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right. Well, have an amazing day. Oh, and by the way, Amanda Lien.
Thank you.
She lives in Denver.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we kind of know each other. I haven't been to a Super Saturday in a while in Denver, but
travels to Super Saturdays all over. But okay, cool. So now you guys will at least know some other people there at the Super Saturday. All right, ladies, have an amazing day. Thanks for being on. And Carrie's taking a picture.
All right.
You know we're all good.
Thank you.
Joy, thanks again. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.